See you on the God. Hello, all. Good afternoon, Wado. Thank you for watching. So this is day 3, part A of reading Hollywood Babylon by Kenneth Angers. Starts off with, it says, airing his basket, rugged Wally Reed, R-E-I-D. Okie dokie, let's find out about this character, right? Wally Reed. Good time Wally. When the Doom book, was shown to Adolf Zucker, the head of Paramount Pictures, had cause for alarm. Leading the blacklist was the name of his top box office draw, Wallace Reed. Zucker, whose studio, are you thinking about people now? Like while I'm reading this? Because I'm like, oh my gosh, right? Will Smith, and like Tom Cruise, like, oh my gosh. People that we looked up to growing up, looked forward to their movies, went to their movies, stood in long lines for their movies, right? Oh, Lord. And a whole list of other people, right? Anyway. Okay, here we go. Zucker, whose studio had already sustained a staggering loss when public outcry forced withdrawal of all Arbuckle and Mary Miles Minter pictures, bitterly protested the proposed banning of his popular star. End quote. You should know that you are asking the impossible. Why? It would mean a $2 million loss to us to do a thing like this in the case of this one man. A thing like this would simply be suicide. End quote. Okay. So he's worried about the motion picture company that he has instead of all of the people that this guy is gonna affect in a negative way. Oh man, and do the unthinkable and whatever. Let's find out. The other studio chiefs behind the blacklist knew there were ways to force the hand even of powerful Zucker, and leaked the inside dope on Reed to the ever-avid tabloids. The Graphic, with a capital C, so it's spelled normal, uppercase G, and then at the end it has a capital C, Graphic, led off with a banner headline, Hollywood hopheads, insinuating that among prominent film colony drug addicts was a certain very popular male star at Paramount. These rumors were suddenly confirmed in a startling manner when Wally Reed, and I'm going to finish it and then get back to the photo, the quote-unquote king of Paramount, was spirited away to a secluded private sanitarium in March 1922. Whoa. Okay, anyway, so this over here is a 2-page photo deal. It says Wally's quote-unquote den of iniquity, cocaine in the trophy cup. Oh my. Oh, it's above the fireplace. At first I was like, where is that? And it went right on over. Wow. You know what? If these walls could talk, you know what I'm saying? Gosh dang. And then I spotted the trophy cup right here. Let's see, yeah, this guy right there. All right. The commitment papers had been signed by Florence, Reed's unhappy wife, a featured player at Universal under the name of Dorothy Davenport. Papa Laemmle, Laemmle, among others, had counseled Florence that Wally's quote-unquote cure was a pressing matter. She heartily agreed, and even Zucker reluctantly concurred. It was better that Wally be kept out of sight. Paramount issued some euphemisms about Reed's quote-unquote overwork. But soon Mrs. Wallace Reed herself informed the press that her husband was undergoing a cure for a morphine addiction. The sensational news that Wally Reed was a drug addict stunned the American public. Wally was not just a popular movie star, he was the vital exponent of young American manhood. Blue-eyed, chestnut-haired Wally was a cheerful, strapping 6'3" giant possessed of great charm and acting ability as well as youth and good looks. Now his nickname, end quotes, Good Time Wally, end quote, took on another meaning. In his role as Hollywood image doctor, Will Hayes tried to cushion the shock by announcing that, in quotes, the unfortunate Mr. Reed should be dealt with as a diseased person, not be censored, shunned, end quote. Wally Reed was indeed dealt with as a diseased person and one best kept out of sight. He spent the remainder of 1922 within a padded cell of that private sanitarium. The abrupt withdrawal of his daily morphine fix and the shock of abrupt confinement unhinged his mind. Wally became obsessed with the idea that he had been railroaded. He was right. Paramount had pushed him through a nonstop production schedule of, end quotes, Wallace Reed racing features, end quote. The Roaring Road, What's Your Hurry, Double Speed, that had little to recommend them. I read that right. That had little to recommend them but the personality of the star behind the wheel. The grueling pace began to tell, and in 1920, while he was working on Forever, at the prompting from a quiet, gentlemanly actor from the Senate lot, SENNETT lot, Wally took his first morphine fix to mask his exhaustion and bolster his energy. Whoa. By the time the film was in the can, Wally was hooked. Toward the end, working on Clarence, they actually propped Wally before the camera in order to finish the picture. Yeesh. This is all in the family, Dorothy and kids. So there's his wife and kids. It's a dang shame. So this says, the whole world is behind Mrs. Wallace Reed and Human Wreckage. It is the greatest production in the history of motion pictures. It surpasses anything ever attempted or achieved in the history of entertainment. It is endorsed by the biggest list of biggest and best organizations and individuals in the country. It is being backed by a colossal campaign that soon will reach unprecedented proportions. It will be the center of tremendously important and vital national events. It will be the most talked of picture and the biggest attraction that the theater ever knew. Well, they are really just like judging that up, I guess. To be distributed by Film Booking Offices of America, Inc., 723 7th Avenue, New York, New York, exchanges everywhere. And this is Human Wreckage Shooting Up. What? Okay. I guess it's a scene from the movie? Like, and that's what I was reading. Can you read that? Anyway. Anybody can if they just like let their eyes fly over it. We don't need to see all the middle parts. This one says Mary Miles Minter moons for her hero, Wally Reed. And here's that one. Mary Miles Minter, my goodness. Anyway, Wally died in his padded cell on January 18, 1923, age 30. A rumor swept the movie colony that he had been, in quotes, put to sleep. At the time of Wally's death, his wife Florence hastened... What? Did I just mess something up? Oh, yeah. Because she goes by a different name. Right? Acts under a different name. Got it. Okay. I was like, wait, hold on. Florence hastened to call a press conference. She announced her intention to avenge her husband's death. She had turned over to the police the names of Wally's friends who had, in parentheses, according to her, close parentheses, drawn him into a life of drink, dope, and debauchery. They called themselves, in quotes, the Hollywood Hellraisers. Hollywood Hellraisers. That's not good. But she preferred to qualify them as, quote unquote, bohemians. Gradually, he got to drinking with his bohemian friends, and soon this wasn't a home. It was a roadhouse. Wally's friends would come in here by the scores. At any odd hour of the day or night, they came, they stayed, they drank. It was one wild party after another, each one worse than the last. Nobody could do anything with Wally, and then morphine, end quote. Florence also took the opportunity to announce that her next picture would be Human Wreckage, an expose of dope traffic. She was doing this film to, in quotes, warn the nation's youth, end quote, as well as, in quotes, in memory of Wally. She did not mention she had covert assistance from Will Hayes for this antiseptic film. She concluded her interview with a final comment on her dead husband, and quotes, Wally was cured but terribly debilitated physically. Only a return to the drug under control could have saved him. He refused, end quote. on her subsequent cross-country lecture tour to warn of the dangers of drug addiction and launch human wreckage. Her opportunistic billing was always, in quotes, Mrs. Wallace Reed, end quote. Mary Pickford provided Wally with a professional epitaph, end quotes. Excuse me. His death is a very great tragedy. I know he would have lived down every mistake he made, end quote. So it says professional widow Mrs. Wallace Reed leaves on tour. And then next there is a actor's chair. Oh, that's an English bulldog. Oh, this holds a special place in my heart, I'm telling you. It says Wally Reed, his chair, his friends are welcome when he is not on the set. And by the looks of the picture, it's a brindle. I love those. I like the plain ones too, but I mean, come on. Anyway, champagne baths. It's the brindles, man. Will Hayes issued a frontline communique promising better days for 1923, end quotes. We are traveling the highway to better things, and filmed them. I have faith that unfortunate incidents will be things safely of the past, end quote. These pious pronouncements did not tone down the exhibitor's blurbs. Such films as Woman to Woman, Men and the Bedroom Window, as in Men and the Bedroom Window, not in the bedroom window, but I don't even know nothing about that movie, so you know. Promised a peek at, end quote, beautiful jazz babies, champagne baths, midnight revels, R-E-V-E-L-S, petting parties in the purple dawn, end quote, as well as, end quote, neckers, white kisses, red kisses, pleasure mad daughters, sensation craving mothers, the truth bold naked, sensational, end quote. What? Like, this stuff sounds like, oh my gosh, like, okay. What is that one, where they were like, I don't know, like Vikings or something, and it was, all the rage or whatever, and I can't remember what it was, and I was like, ooh, can't wait for that to come out. I'll go ahead and watch it. My hubster and I, we didn't make it, like, I don't know, like not even 5 minutes, I feel like, and the sister and the brother were going at it, and I'm like, click, that's not for me, right? And he was like, not for me either. And I can't remember, it had like so many seasons. People talked about it openly on different things, and then that reminds me of the that one where that guy does like sodomy and stuff. Gosh, I can't remember the name of it. I did not see that either, because I was like, ooh, that sounds really cool and all that. I had no idea about it, like, whatsoever. And then I decided to look into it online to see like what was being written about it, and I heard about it, and I'm like, that's not me. And it was like a book series before it became a movie, and yeah, no, I mean, but it sounds like this, right? Anyway, 40 million Americans paid tribute every week at the box office, urged by ads that, in quotes, all the adventure, all the romance, all the excitement you lack in your daily life are in pictures. They take you completely out of yourself into a wonderful new world, out of the cage of everyday existence, if only for an afternoon or an evening escape, end quote. The masses of the 20s thought it was a quote-unquote swell idea, even when Hayes tacked a moral message on the end. The rule of Czar Hayes was looked at with dismay by Hollywood's sincere believers in film artistry, who saw the advent of the big scissors man from the Bible Belt as an unmitigated catastrophe for the seventh muse, end quote. Photo plays which deal honestly with life are now banned from the screen, end quote. They pointed out, in quotes, while Claptrap receives a benediction provided it has a blatantly moral ending and serves up its sex appeal with hypocritical disapproval, end quote. In open parentheses, they were aiming at that bathroom turncoat, Cecile B. DeMille, D-E-M-I-L-L-E, in parentheses, or close parentheses. Hayes is concerned for the, in quotes, the mind of a child. That unmarked slate, end quote, meant in practice that screen content was often reduced to the level of a 10-year-old. A disgruntled Hollywood wag made up a photo montage showing Hayes as a happy baby in a sand pile. It was much circulated at parties he did not attend. Although public behavior was somewhat toned down, the movie colony's parties were as rowdy as before. Hotel suites were carefully avoided as unsuitable locations for hijinks. The Golden people had their incredible brand new Hispano-Mauresque villas. It's Hispano-Mauresque villas for private playpens. What? And they were careful to draw the brocaded drapes and to post guards at the wrought iron gates to bar studio snoops and reporters. Then the darlings of the gods could cut loose. Rumors of riotous Hollywood highlife behind Hayes's back seeped out of the press through bribed butlers and upstairs maids, and the New York Journal commented, in quotes, "When people spring from poverty to affluence, within a few weeks their mental equipment is not always equal to the strain." Exactly. They have money and unaccustomed toy, and they spend it in bizarre ways. That's true. Here's a private playpen. It says private playpens right here. Okay, so this one says cutting loose. So this is somebody was on the cover of Life magazine, I'm guessing. It says Life. And this is the flapper. This is Flapper, Joan Crawford, Charleston's, and Our Dancing Daughters. So I don't know if that just so happens to just be like a promotional poster thing. I don't know. I like butterflies. Not like that though. Let's see. They may indulge in quote-unquote wild parties, or they may indulge in other forms of relaxation and excitement. Many of them spend all they make. Since prohibition came in, many of them who had no liquor stocks turned to other stimulants. The dealers in illicit drugs find a growing market in Hollywood, end quote. While the Journal was correct in its comments on the drug traffic, it was wrong in assuming the film folk had any difficulty finding intoxicating beverages. Each star had his or her own, in quotes, legger, a rum running to the Hollywood haciendas was a lucrative business. Man, what all were they escaping? You know what I mean? Oh gosh. Anyway. Oh no, no, that was the flapper. So I guess this is her on the table. I'm not really sure. Let me see. They have it. Yeah, I guess that's her on the table too. Right there. So that must be in a film, Our Dancing Daughters. So this up here, I'm not really sure what that is then. Okay. The movie colony slaked, S-L-A-K-E-D, its thirst with a vengeance during Prohibition. But much of the illicit alcohol was of questionable quality. I bet it was. Accord, A-C-C-O-R-D, the horse opera star, was driven to suicide by bad booze insanity. Yeah. Western star Leo Maloney was killed by it. Yeah. I watched a thing on Shine, and it can really mess your brain up, like permanently. Whether you come off it or not, doesn't matter. So this says, do they write what it says? I don't see it in here. Anyway, it's Barbara something. It says L-E-S something U4. I don't know. I can't read that. This is Barbara. I'm not really sure, but here she is. There's her photo. Heroines. After the death of Wally Reed, Hollywood quote-unquote users did not break their habits. They learned discretion. One of the town's leading dealers was a quiet, gentlemanly actor on the Senate lot known as quote-unquote the Count. It was he who offered to fix up Wally Reed's hangover during the filming of Forever, who first put Mabel Normand, Juanita Hansen, Barbara Lamar, and Alma Rubens on the junk. Done to go hang, and a good shot, to meet again, let me mean it.